Okay, guys. So today, what we doing? We are doing Mhf Unit 5 Mid-Unit Assignment. Look at the title. It's Unit 5 Mid-Unit Assignment. So for the first question, we need to determine an equation for the family of the quadratic function with zeros, negative 5 over 2, negative 1, 7 over 2, and 3. So we need, for the A part, we need to write an equation for two functions that belong to this family. So what does that mean? For example, write, we need zeros, right? We need zeros. So as negative 2 over 5, we need to get a 0. Negative 1, and we have an x, we need to get a 0. 7 over 2, and x, we need to get a 0. And x3, we need to get a 0. So that's with that pretty easily we will get x plus 2 divided by 5, or x plus 5 over 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 7 over 2 times x minus 3. That's our primary function right here. And then we will get our second function, which we can use 2, we can use 3, 4, 5, negative 1, negative 2, doesn't matter. It has to be either number of that add up needs to be a 0. Okay, so with here we use 2, so that's basically with 2 times x plus 5 over 2, x plus 1, x minus 7 over 2, and x minus 3. And then for the B part, we need to determine an equation for the member of the family whose graph passes through the points negative 2, 25. So what we do here, we use A, which is, we have our primary function here. We use y, or f of x, equals A times this part, 5 plus 5 over 2, this part, this whole thing here. And then we substitute x equals negative 2 right here, here, which is here. And then we have 25, plug that into y, and then we have 25 equals A bracket negative 2 plus 5 over 2 times negative 2 plus 1 times negative 2 minus 7 over 2 times negative 2 minus 3. So we have 25 equals A times a half times negative 1 times negative 11 over 2 times negative 5. And then we get 25 equals negative 55 over 4a, which we will get, okay, so simple multiplication here. So we have our 4 go there, and then we keep our negative here, which is 100 equals negative 55a, and then therefore we have a equals negative 100 divided by that part equals that. So a equals negative 100 over 55, 100 divided by 55 times negative 1, which is equals to negative 20 over 11. Yep, and then therefore we will get that family, which is negative 20 over 11, x plus 5 over 2, x plus 1, x minus 7 over 2, and times x minus 3. So we have our third graph here. And then for the part C, we need to graph that. We need to sketch a graph of the function in parts A and B. So for the primary function, we can see here, there we goes function 1. That goes up here. And then we have our function 2, which are with 2 times so we stretch out by twice. We go over here, and end up here, goes down there, and it goes up here. So you kind of like you stretch that in the y-axis. You stretch that twice as hard. And then we have our third function, which is down here. So what is that does is, first of all, look at this. We have our negative sign, so it gotta be reflected in by the x-axis, and then we do that. We plot the points here, so that goes down and up, and then we go down again. So frankly speaking, if you just change your leading coefficient of your whole function, which we can call it a family, then it's going to be you stretch it or you squeeze that by y-axis. But if you plug in the negative sign, then you gotta reflect that. You gotta reflect that with the x-axis. So if that points up, then that points down. So this time it point up with your original function, and then now you got to point down with your negative function, which is your the function which pass through the negative 225 point. That's gonna be there, yeah. And then for our question number 2, the distance d in kilometers traveled by a plane after t hours can be represented by d of t equals negative 4t to the power of 3 plus 40t squared plus 500t. And then we have a restriction here. T needs to be greater or equal than 0 and smaller or equal to 10. Oh well, because it can't go backwards the time. No, it cannot. So we have. So the question asks, how long does the plane take to fly 4,088 kilometers? That's very easy. So we plug in d of t equals 4,088, which is 4088, and then we put our d of t, the original function, back here. We move the 4088 down there, so we get a 0 here, and then we divided each section by 4. We get 0 equals, well, because 0 divided by 4 is still 4, because 0 divided by anything except 0, because 0 divided by 0, that you end up with an undefined. Then we have 0 equals t to the power of 3 minus 10t squared minus 125t plus 1022. Then we have 0 equals t minus 7 times t squared minus 3t plus minus 146. So now we will get the t. So the t is 7. That's one very obvious answer here. Or we have t equals, because that cannot be simply factored, then we use b squared the b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, which you will get 3 plus minus square root of 593 over 2. Then we will get negative 10.68, or t equals 13.68. So let us be pretty clear here. You have a clear restriction which specifies t needs to be greater or equal than 0, or need to be smaller or equal to 10. So with that being said, t cannot go lower than 0. With that negative, it's inadmissible. And then we have our 13.68, which is greater than 10. It doesn't meet the requirements, so it's inadmissible too. So easy term, not gonna work. T gotta be equal to 7. So 7 hours later, the plane should fly 4,088 kilometers. Then we move to question number 3. Question number 3. Write an equation for a rational function whose graph has all of the indicated features. Okay, so we need to have x-intercepts of -4, y-intercepts of -2, vertical asymptote with an equation x equal to 2, and horizontal asymptote with equation y equal to 1. So we will start that with the original format, f of x equals a over x minus h plus k. So we have a vertical asymptote x equals to 2, which equal to h, so you plug 2 here into h. And you have your horizontal asymptote y equals 1, which equals to k, so you put the k down here. Then what you're gonna have? You substitute in -4, 0, and also 0, -2. Why is that? -4, 0, that's for the x-intercept. X, y. And then you have y-intercept, -0, -2. So that's x, that's y, -2, y-intercept. Okay? So if we substitute that in there, then 0 equals a over -2 minus 2 plus 1, then -4 minus 2, you get -6, a over -6, and then you move your 1 on the left, and then you -1 times -6, and then what you gonna get? You will get a 6, because -1 times -6 minus, you get a positive, and you have 6 there, you have a equals 6. Then you gotta do the y-intercept part, which is -2 equals a over 0 minus 2 plus 1. Then you have here -3 equals a over -2. Then it's the same thing. You -3 times -2 equals a. 3 times 2, or -3 times 2 is 6. Yeah. Negative, positive. Yeah. So we have the equation of the function. So with that being said, it's easy. You get our function 6 f of x equals 6 over x minus 2 plus 1. That 1 is the k. It doesn't belong beneath here, okay? And that concludes my Mhf Unit 5 Mid-Unit Assignment on Sunday, May 5th, 11:46 a.m. Thank you.